Something that I don't think the Dota 2 community talks about enough is visual design. Except when new sets come out, but that's beside the point. More specifically, nobody really talks about the designs of the default hero models. A lot of them may seem outdated or basic, but there are so many bangers hidden away in there. You just gotta know what you're looking for. And that's what this video is. The top 10 best visually designed heroes in Dota 2, in my personal opinion. I have a certain criteria when it comes to character design, and a lot of it is lore focused. That little blurb that Valve wrote about the hero like 12 years ago should fit with the visual design they produced, but also it has to be visually interesting to look at. So while Centaur's character design certainly fits his lore, he ain't exactly a looker. Alright, enough of that. Let's get started with number 10.
Meepo!
Meepo is such a little goober. I want to throw this guy. And I'm pretty sure that's the whole point of the character. The moment you see Meepo in your games, you roll your eyes as you get steamrolled by this pack of rats with their dumb shovels and their dumb little dance they do when they poof. The hazy eyes and a little piece of wheat hanging out of his mouth make him out to be a real meep. Just look at him. Don't you want to just punt him? His backpack has a few neat little things to look at, and he's even got the little gem that split him up into 4 other dudes. His design is put together very well, and it really accomplishes this goal of making you hate him. Man, what a lovable, hateable little challenge. But you know who isn't little? The next hero on our list. Come on, Wilson, it's just a bird on fire. What could there possibly be here that's fascinated you so much? Yeah, sure, it's just a bird on fire. Or is it? I mean, if Valve just wanted to make a regular Phoenix, they could have gone with a way more basic design. Something like Morphling, or Lena. But instead we got this. It doesn't have eyes, it doesn't have a mouth that we can see at least. Why? Because Phoenix is a literal star. This is a being from space, and therefore Valve went with a more otherworldly approach instead of the usual Phoenix you typically see in media. That weird crest really helps convey the idea that this being is not of Earth. It doesn't have the conventions of facial features, and notice the white hot flame burning from it, broiling up from its back. This isn't some normal Phoenix, it's burning with the white hot flame of a celestial body. Sure, it's a bird on fire, but man, that is one cool bird on one cool fire. Speaking of segues, next we have Abaddon's lore is one of my favorites in the entire game, mostly because of how well it fits his character design. His bio describes him as a noble of the House of Avernus, who had a natural gift of attunement toward the Black Mist. The usual tradition of the House of Avernus is to bathe newborns in this mist that emits from a small crack in the ground. This baptism grants them a connection to the Black Mist and its powers. When it was Abaddon's turn during his infancy, he was found to have a strong natural affinity for the mist. Growing up, he spent most of his time getting to know the mist better until he went from a regular dude to the black misty fella you see before you. It's a lore bio you'd expect to find in a From Software game or something, and it goes extremely hard. Tangent aside, Abaddon's character design really commits to the whole mystery bit, continuing to leave the whole painting unfinished, like in his lore. Even with the knowledge of the bio, just looking at him raises more interesting questions than it answers. Is he a ghost? Undead? Is he made of mist, or is he just covered in it? Why did my Abaddon from last game build Khanda first item? His character design gives us a pretty good look into what the House of Avernus is like. Despite what you'd think, black isn't really a color that they use a lot in their clothing or armor. From looking at Abaddon, you can glean that the House of Avernus is probably very blue, with a few purples here and there. Though purple has always been a color used by the nobility and the royalty in Middle Ages, so who can say for sure if it's a staple of their color scheme or not. When it comes to the horse, we get even more knowledge about this mysterious estate without any concrete answers. The wildlife around the house has either been infected with the mist or it has always been like this, and the House of Avernus is just located in this weird ghostly area. I do have another theory about why the horse looks like that. Sorry, I could go on and on about Abaddon's lore forever. And maybe I will in another video, but it's time to move on to another hero that wears blue armor.
Razor!
Now I know what you're thinking. No, but Wilson, Razor's your favorite hero. Why isn't he number 1? And to that I say, I mostly like Razor for other reasons, but also keep in mind that out of 124, or maybe 125 if Ringmaster's out. Heroes, Razor is number 7 on my list. What draws me to Razor most is how much he looks like a moving tower. That weird dress he has and the fact that he floats above everyone gives him a really menacing, towering presence. And Razor is supposed to be a menacing figure after all. He deals with faithless souls as a job, making sure nobody's loitering in the narrow maze. Personally, I think the whip is unnecessary. If I died and saw that, I'd be trying to run away ASAP, no questions asked. And it all culminates to the focal point of the helmet. The helmet is the only reason Razor's on this list at all. The way it flows, the 3 little horns, the kick-ass visor is just so cool. Whoever thought of this back in like 2009 was cooking, and I couldn't think of this stuff in my dreams. On the topic of dreams, as far as nightmare monsters go, you can't really beat Bane. This unsettling, twitching, creepy little freak will always top any other nightmare monster out there. Freddy Krueger? Boring. Nocturne from League of Legends? Terrible. Bane is where it's at. For those that don't know, Bane erupted from the stomach of Niktasha, goddess of fear, when she had a nightmare. It's implied that his coming into the physical world killed her since he, quote-unquote, fed upon her immortality, and is now the current god of fear, but not totally confirmed. This writhing purple centaur thing you see before you was never supposed to exist, and you can see it in his character design. No living creature is supposed to have this posture or move in this way. His form is decrepit and frail, and his head looks incomplete, or as if someone tore the back half of it off. Not even the jaws line up. He can't close his mouth. Even his very veins can't contain the blood that he drips everywhere as he floats through the air. He was broken from birth, a creature that preys upon your mental to make its meal. As an expert on fear monsters, Bane is one of the best, and the next hero on this list is no stranger to fear.
Muerta.
Muerta's motivation as a character is hate and spite. She wanted revenge so badly on the bandits who killed her family that death gave her an opportunity to become his second in command. She's whispered around campfires as nothing more than folklore until they hear the crack of the ghostly pistols. This idea is communicated very well in Muerta's design. For ghostly sidekick of the Grim Reaper, it's not bad. But there's something about this character design that brings it to a higher level. Let me guess if you can spot it. Contrast. If Muerta was only green, gold, and black, this design wouldn't say much, but BAM! Red. Look at the difference it makes. These little splashes of red bring it all together and make it such a zanger design. I'm not that much educated in color theory, but I do know that this chart exists, and I can use my eyes to see that red is the direct contrast of green. But it's not just the color. These drapes you see over her shoulders and waist really sell her etherealness. And when she ults, these drapes become almost wing-like, really adding to the effect that she's revealing her true power. And you still see that splash of red that keeps her design from becoming a green sludge. Whoever made this color choice is a character design beast. And come to think of it, you know who else is a beast? Boom, boom, love me some peanut butter. PB is propped up to be this ancient monster who has been through a bunch of different realms and worlds and always manages to escape whoever tries imprisoning him. And everything I just said in that small lore summary is shown very well in his character design. Exhibit A, the chains. His past experiences are quite literally shackled to him. And what better way to show his age than giving him Stegosaurus plates on his back? He looks like a dinosaur, and it really helps display his true ancient age. His size also conveys his immense strength, but that's a pretty obvious detail. The placement of his eyes and his constant open mouth tell the viewer that this is a single-minded creature. It's not that bright, but it's bright enough to have a drive to want to pummel you into the ground. Everything about this guy is obvious, and I'm pretty sure that's the point. Yeah, just a really solid character design. Not much to really comment on. Valve did a good job. Speaking of solid, our next character has a lot to do with solid water. Oh, look, I'm trying my best here. Segues are... Coming in cold in the top 3, we have Lich. If any hero wears their lore on their sleeve, it's Lich. Easily. This guy was such a terror when he was alive that the people he ruled over ambushed him, tied him up in chains with a big stone around his neck, and threw him into a bottomless pond to drown. Unable to swim, he began sinking into the depths, but he got caught on a root or something and he just kinda chilled there for centuries until some geomancer looking to test the bottomlessness of the pool unwittingly reeled him up from the deep and brought him back to life as an undead sorcerer. You can still see the chains that the townsfolk used to tie him up. His legs are still bound, and the stone made to drown him is still around his neck. The icy tentacles emerging from his back are a testament to his power. This man was such a powerful sorcerer, his talents for ice magic began to physically manifest upon him. And to top it all off, he floats as if he's still drifting around that bottomless pool. Now you might notice that he has strange red markings on him, particularly on that stone circle around his neck. My headcanon is that this was part of the resurrection spell cast by the geomancer. If you look into Lich's eyes and mouth, you can see a red glow stirring within. Red isn't exactly a color that's associated with ice, but red is certainly the color of life. Blood runs red after all, and that's what I suspect was used to bring Lich back to life. Blood magic. Now what a geomancer was doing with blood magic is a topic for another time, but the attention to detail on this guy is crazy. What could possibly top the Lich Meister? There is something so novel about a bug in armor. I don't think I've seen this type of design anywhere outside of Dota 2. Most of the time when you see bugs in armor, it's always some biological growth or exoskeleton or something. So seeing this knightly, royal-looking armor on a bug of all things is really nice to look at. It's not full of round shapes or random spikes like you'd expect to see, but instead it's sleek and flowing, and sharp where it needs to be. He is an assassin after all. However, it is hinted that this armor that he wears is biological after all. The wiki states that his E ability, Spiked Carapace, is due to him molting over 7 times, developing a magic-resistant carapace. Hunches and howevers aside, I think it'd be really hard to come up with a goddess-serving insect assassin than what we have now. I just love looking at this guy. Who could be number 1? What hero could hold such a prestigious spot as the best visually designed character? It's one we all know and love, and he steals more than just our hearts and minds.
Rubik.
It doesn't get better than a Rubik. Look at this little fella go. What an awesome, awesome character design. If there's 2 things I'm biased towards in character design, it's asymmetry and covered faces. This guy has it all. Looking over his character design, Rubik is a quintessential wizard. He has the flowing robes and the staff and the mantle with enough asymmetry to give off a bit of a chaotic look. It helps convey his craftiness and resourcefulness, I think, which is how he plays in game, almost down to a T. A good Rubik player will use every resource available to him, grabbing specific spells with good timing and putting them to their best possible usage. He's on the verge of flawlessness. The one thing I don't like about his character design is that he's got his dogs out. Who at Valve made this decision? Upon further thought, why do so many Dota characters have their toes out just on display? A very weird design choice, Valve. Very strange. And there we have it. My top 10 epic visually designed Dota heroes. Let me know what your thoughts are in the What? I already know their thoughts in the comments below. Oh, right. Yeah, I almost forgot about this. A few weeks ago, I put out a little voting thing and spammed it in a bunch of different Discords and on Reddit. I simply asked you, the community, which Dota characters have the best visual designs. Looking at these results in the graph, I'm surprised how spread out it is. I thought a lot more people would vote Invoker or Pudge, or whoever they think is the most attractive. I mean, some of you horny bastards voted like that, but that's besides the point. Also, side note, one of you voted for a neutral creep. Just thought that was interesting. I was really surprised to see which hero got the most votes, and it was actually a hero on my list as well, which I thought was neat. Anyways, if y'all had your own top 10 list, it'd go in the following order.
Juggernaut. Rubik. Visage.
Dante Panna.
Terrorblade.
Marcy.
Grimstroke.
Mereska has arrived.
Muerta.
Lich.
Yeah, no surprise Lich is there. It's great. Anyways, thanks a whole lot to y'all who voted. You all made this segment of the video possible, and I always love to hear what the community thinks of this stuff, since it's not really talked about all that much. Oh, and if you didn't vote, let me know who you think was the best visual design and why in the comments below. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch this video to the end, and get ready for the top 10 worst hero designs in the near future. God bless, and until next time.